Mike, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Excited for tomorrow because tomorrow I'm leaving for the US tour. But yeah, so far so good.
Okay. Well, before we talk about the tour and your recent music, let's take a step back. Do you have a first musical memory?
I do actually. I think my first. I don't know the singer. It's Take These Broken Wings. Do you know that song?
I know the song, I don't know who it's by.
Lopke, weet jij dat? Take These Broken Wings, dat liedje. Take These Broken Wings.
Van Mr.
Mr. and Mr, yeah. So, Mr. and Mr, Take These Broken Wings. And I think I was 6 or something, and it was the first track I recorded. I didn't even know if I liked it or I didn't, but it just did something to me, and it was a track that I recorded and like pressed play and then just laid on my bed and listened to it. And I think that's my first memory.
What, I suppose you were quite young at that point. What did music mean to you at that point?
At that point, I don't know. For me, it was a moment to, I think to fantasize. When you're young, you close your eyes, you listen to music, and you see all kinds of stuff in front of you happening, or kind of your creative part of your brain gets more active. I don't know, and it felt for me like I was just. It gave me a good way to dream, and I always used to listen to music before I go to sleep, just to, I don't know, I think to clear my mind, not to worry about things, but just to dream away.
Would they, this might be too far-fetched, but would they influence dreams in a way?
Wow, that's difficult. I wouldn't know. You know, in some ways, audio does influence your dream, and I used to have. I used to sometimes wake up because if you're dreaming and you wake up, that are the dreams you remember. And when I was, I think, 14 or 15, I used to listen to Alpha Blondie, the reggae artist, and I used to listen to his live CD, and my alarm clock was a stereo, which the CDs started playing at the set time. And because it was live, I sometimes dreamt that I was at a live concert, but it was kind of, I don't know if I was awake or dreaming.
Right.
Or, yeah.
Okay. And then if you, because obviously now you're making music yourself, is that connection you have, is it still something you kind of like to close your eyes when you listen to your own music?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It differs from time to time. When I'm working hard in the studio, or when I have loads of gigs, it's sometimes hard for me to just take that moment and listen to music and really enjoy the music, because for me, working with music, when I listen to music, it's also kind of like information coming towards you, and you get ideas, and your brain gets active instead of just dreaming away. So, but when I'm a bit more relaxed, I love sitting at home, just listening to some music and just nothing. Yeah.
The type of music that you listen to then, is it the same as what you make?
I wouldn't be able to listen like dance music or whatever, because then my brain I would always go thinking, all right, this song has this song has that, and then you get more active. So no, I listen to like more just like indie singer-songwriters, mellow, relaxing stuff.
And in the same vein, then, does that also influence you in what you make?
I think it does in a sense that I like listening to singer-songwriters that have a certain level of writing lyrically. I'm always really listening to the lyrics, but since I don't write the music myself, like the lyrics, but I do want to work with artists that have a certain level. So it kind of influences me in a way that you know, I don't get warm or cold from we like to party, throw your hands up in the air. I want to be touched as well by the lyrics, and that's the same that I have with singer-songwriters that I listen to. So that influences each other definitely.
So in a way that then also influences who you work with?
Well, I think so, yeah. Well, for instance, Dragonette was an artist that I'm working with. On one hand, I really like her lyrics and the way she sings. On the other hand, my manager and her manager had good contact with each other. So you know, it sometimes can go from different ways. But I've been working with Dragonette for another song in the future as well. So it's definitely someone that I really like and that I really think that her lyrics are a certain level as a singer-songwriter.
Yeah, what made your collaboration work for you? But because now you say you are already working on a new song, what made it work?
Well, like I said, first of all, she's a really great songwriter, and you know, she really, you know, her lyrics are really poetry, and in my opinion, and I get touched by it. And when she sings something or says something, I have that feeling when I was young, you know, dreaming away and seeing things in front of you happen, and so. First of all, her manager and my manager had contact, so Dragonette sent like a small draft, a first draft of some music, and because I felt it so good and I really liked it, I got more eager to work on it, but I also got really motivated to really deliver something unique because, you know, I don't want to like devalue her lyrics.
Do you know beforehand, because obviously that song did quite well, but do you know before, do you have something in mind of how the song will turn out before you start?
No.
Working? Okay.
No, I don't use that. I just make what I feel, and there are probably some formulas that I always work with, but I don't really know them yet, and I just work from a gut feeling.
And well, I suppose this is then different for every song. But what do you generally start with?
Oh yeah, that's. I try to always start with, well, not always with something different, but always try to make the start different than another track, because starting a track is also like, you know, your starting point also defines where you're going. So if you change your starting point from time to time, then you get more ideas or other ideas. So I like to change. So sometimes I just start with the beat, but most of the time I start with the melody or with the bass line. And in Dragonette's case, she sent the first draft, so that was the starting point.
Okay. And then, well, you say that so she had the first draft. How do you develop them the song further? Is it what caught your eye in what she did?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I got touched by her lyrics and her melody, and then you get ideas immediately. So yeah.
And well, before we talk about more of the music, there's one thing I wanted to ask you about. You were a capoeira teacher.
Yeah.
Which in a way is a form of self-expression, I suppose. So was the kind of expression that you got from that, was that the same as what you have now with music?
Oh no. For me, well, you know, in capoeira you have music as well. You have your berimbau, which you play on, or the rhythm instruments, and you sing along. And but the sport itself, it's more about challenging your opponent and kind of, you know, I don't know. It's more about challenging your opponent. And when I'm behind the computer, I'm not challenging anybody. I'm just you know, trying to do your best. Yeah.
And then you, as you say, there is a musical component to it. So
yeah.
Do you notice now then that certain elements of music that is played a lot with capoeira, do you notice certain elements or beats or something that come back now?
in my music. I used to start with because the rhythms in capoeira you have different. You have maculele, or you have capoeira, and you have Angola, and it all has a different rhythm. There is like the berimbau is a string instrument, but it's basically also a rhythm instrument because you just have like 2 or 3 tones or sounds you can produce. When I started making music, I used to try to like incorporate the rhythms with my music, but then it all sounded kind of like a bit like Latin housey samba stuff, and I thought it was a bit too cliche, so then I just threw it overboard. Yeah. And
then because then there was a point where you kind of left capoeira behind and focused on was that a tough decision for you?
It wasn't. The decision itself wasn't so tough. Okay. Because I used to teach capoeira as well, and I used to. At that time, I used to DJ as well, and I had moments where I gave class on a Sunday, and the day before I DJ'd and didn't sleep and just go to a class, and gave 3 classes also to like younger, like 6 to 10-year-old, and then I thought, okay, this is not too safe. I have to be focused when I do this. So that wasn't so tough and also I thought like, okay, if I want to pursue a career in capoeira, that means sport the whole time. And I think I thought that there was more adventure in making music and DJing and hopefully travel around the world or something like that. So that decision wasn't so hard, but then of course when I made the decision, I thought, okay, I'll play capoeira on a like recreational level. But when I decided that, I never played capoeira again. So yeah.
And one of the first things you did then was set up your own record label.
Yeah.
And what made you go for your own record label instead of at that point trying to be a solo artist or be a producer?
Well, I DJ'd and I used to promote parties, and this was the time where I was in the DJ collective, which is called Bmkltsch, and we organized parties and we DJ'd, and I just thought it would be very cool that the artists that we would book, that we could also release music of, and you know, when you're a DJ, you also you kind of like, my motivation to be a DJ is that I'm really enthusiastic about some artist or about a song or whatever, and what way more to give that enthusiasm, how do you say, a goal than to start a record label and just try to push other artists and support them and try to give them a platform and just do everything that you want to make that song that you're enthusiastic about, you know, go into the world and that people will know that song.
Was this a difficult thing to do? Because obviously now dance music, EDM, has kind of exploded and it's very much mainstream in a way. But I think back then it wasn't there where it is now. So was it difficult to get your own label set up and promote these artists?
That depends on the standards that you hold. My standards weren't that high, so I was really happy if you know, you have Beatport decide where DJs buy their music. Like if it went into the top 100 chart, I was already like jumping on a table, going yes. And now, if you put it in perspective, it's still good, but it's not like the biggest thing ever. And I didn't make any money with it. But like I said, it was just enthusiasm, and you know, I didn't come from that world. I didn't study, like now you can study to be a music manager or whatever. Right. You didn't have that kind of stuff. So the whole adventure itself was nice, and every step forward was something that I was enthusiastic about. So it felt like hard work, and it felt like I was, you know, really making a mark with the label. But if you put it in perspective to now, then it's a whole different thing.